Welcome to conference, and we are on day 10 of our New Year commitment to all do the metta meditation every morning and bring love and kindness to our own life, spread it to the people we love, and extend it to people we haven't even met or don't even know that we want to raise that vibration for. So we're about to start a new chapter, a new semester here at the Shala, and I'm calling this new semester, Why Ashtanga? And I'm going to talk a little bit about the methodology and the traditions, maybe break down things like the invocation, and also just talk about how I've been doing this for well over 20 years now, probably closer to 25 years, and how I feel like it serves me and how I look forward to doing this well into my 70s and 80s, and just kind of sharing that with everyone and getting some feedback from you as well. But today I'm going to start with something we did a few weeks ago, which is self-adjustments, and the importance of when your teacher is not there, when you can't get an adjustment from a teacher, that we can all be a little more conscious in doing self-adjustments. And so today's self-adjustment teaching is on twisting the spine, spinal twists. So spinal twists are incredibly important for us because why? Why would it be important to be in our yoga mat and actually do spinal twists? Yes. So one reason is to keep the spine healthy. So the spine should be two things. One, everyone always thinks about with yoga, your spine should be flexible, right? And as we age, if we don't have flexibility in our spine, we run into different problems and injuries and whatnot. But as well, the spine should also be strong. So those two things work together. If you guys know this, if your spine is just flexible, you may have problems with your core, you might have problems with your lower back. We see that in a practice like someone who's super bendy really needs to work on being stronger. And sometimes someone who's really strong in their spine, they have a good core, they need to work on being more flexible in their spine. So the perfect health situation for us with our back and our spine is to work towards both. And in that, we do what we've been talking about a lot in our practice, where it always begins from your core and it moves up through the spine and into the open chest. So if I just think about good structure throughout the day as well, and I personally lived like this for a while, kind of like this, sort of collapsed, right? Maybe I'm doing this, or maybe I'm walking like this, right? But I'm sort of collapsed. So good spinal strength and flexibility means that I start where? Everyone's mom says, honey, pull your shoulders back. So I go like this. It's better, right? Where does it actually start from? Your core. So in yoga we say Uddiyana Bandha, Mula Bandha. You lift your perineal muscles, you lift your pelvic floor, and you pull that lower belly inward. And when I do that, it inflates my chest and my shoulders naturally pull back. So this begins the spinal health that we're talking about, a nice elongated spine with strength. Then this idea of twisting. So in life, if I don't have a flexible spine, or if I don't have strength in my core, I can run into injuries when I go to pick something up and I twist like, oh, I pull my back out. Or even if I'm just sitting down somewhere and I just go to like twist, if my spine isn't healthy, you can get all kinds of injuries. So yoga is one of the places so beautiful where we actually work towards that spinal health through twisting as well. What Emily said that you might not have heard on our video is that I said, what are spinal twists good for? And we're like, okay, they're good for strengthening the spine and keeping it healthy and flexible, but it's also great for your lymphatic system. So if you went to get a massage from someone, from Karen or something, and she's like doing this, like push, all this kind of stuff. What's happening is that she's loosening up the toxins in your tissues and your muscles, and in that loosening up, we used to get them to surface, and then after a good massage, your masseuse would say what? Drink a lot of water, because you have to flush out all those toxins. So that's one way that we can loosen up and release toxins. Another way is through our breathing. So if we're just doing that like shallow breathing all day, sitting on the couch, not moving, shallow breathing, we would say our lymphatic system is kind of like our sewage system, right? So the lymph nodes, there's no movement happening in those, and so they get sort of jammed up like our plumbing here at the Shala would. If the pipes would have stuff that wasn't moving in it, and over time things get stuck in there, then you have sewage problems, which is no fun, really. But it's the same in our bodies as well. So when we breathe and we get off the couch and we move, we're keeping our sewage system moving and healthy. And one of the greatest ways to do that is through spinal twisting. So it's the same as a massage, right? When I go from being at this strong core and this long spine, and then I start to move into one of the twists, we can see that. I used to love one of Tim's analogies. It was like, he said, it's like taking a dirty dish towel and putting it in water and going like this, and it's a little bit cleaner, right? And then still a little dirty, so you put it back in the water and you do this again until it's a little cleaner. That's kind of what we're doing every time we do these twists. But what's really important, I wanted to talk about this week, is doing twists from a way that has good structure and is healthy. We always talk about form, having good form. So where do we want to twist from when we're twisting in our yoga practice? And really, where do you want to twist from when you're twisting to get that book or to pick up something over here? Where will we twist from? Your core needs to be strong. So for sure, we want to train it here so that we're using that strong core whenever you're going to... Where in your spine are we actually twisting from? I say this all the time. I was surprised on Sunday how many people were saying your lower back. But actually, we're twisting from your mid and your upper back. This is a healthy twist. I don't want to twist from my hips. I want to lift from my core, as Karen said, and the twist begins here in this middle thoracic and moves out. That's what's healthy. So when we do our simple, let's just say standing twist. What's your first standing twist? Triangle. So you guys are dumb. So a good triangle pose would be, I'm not going to bring a demo up here and make it challenging, but a good triangle pose, if you can see my back a little bit, should have a flat back, and then I twist by lifting the shoulder rather than twisting my hips. So always we stabilize the lower back, and when that's stable, the bond is, then we start to twist from that mid area. So I don't say the same way, but I used to say I should be able to serve tea off your back, like a table. And then the twist happens from here. It's the same when we do extended angle and we twist, right? But here, we're in a different position. So you might think of if I had 2 fingers on my hip bones and I'm going to twist this direction, I don't want the one hip to be higher than the other. I want them stabilized to move into the twist. So again, it's middle to upper. Same as when we're sitting. You know, when we do poses like the Marichasanas are so beautiful and cleansing for us, good for our lymphatic system. But when we realize if we don't have a lot of flexibility in our spine, we do start to like lift the hips and twist our hips in order to get into it. But I would actually prefer that you stabilize your core, even bring your hand behind you instead and keep that spine really long and see where am I twisting from and getting more breath into the chest area. You know, we do a lot of clasping, and your teacher will come around and clasp. I always want to say this, like, there's no yoga destination. You're not a better yogi because you can clasp in Marichasana C or D. It has nothing to do with that. The only reason that we try to clasp ourselves or have a teacher help us is why? Because you get an A instead of a C on your yoga grade.
Doesn't it just give you the leverage to go deeper?
Yeah, so the idea of twisting and clasping your hands would be that I could pull this right shoulder back further and open wider into the twist. And if I grab really low, sometimes the opposite happens. The shoulder will drop down really low and I'm trying to pull that shoulder back. And so if a teacher's here, the teacher can pull you back. But on your own, sometimes you have to determine what's better for you and sort of understand things like that. Like, how can I facilitate that opening? Maybe this is the way, maybe a towel, and I clasp with the towel to open that. But thinking again, like, there's no destination here, only that it would open you more in that spinal twist and get more of that cleansing effect that we're looking for when we detoxify. So just incorporating that into your practice when you're thinking, we have a lot of twists in primary series, so it's nice for us to be mindful about moving from the core and twisting that upper spine. I'm going to say stuff today, and maybe those of you in our extended family can think, If I could adjust you sometimes, if I could, I would. Think of someone pressing on your lower back in triangle pose and trying to lift your shoulder up. You know, even myself, like that's actually one of the hardest things for me with my particular skeletal structure and my body type, is I put my hand on my back and I keep it there for the first breath or so and really try to flatten that back out and twist from a mindful place rather than how high up I can get my arm. The second part of conference today is for Thanksgiving. So I love this holiday so much, just like New Year's, but it's particularly dedicated to this idea of being grateful. I don't know so much about how much we talk about the Indians and the pilgrims and the corn and stuff as much anymore. I really do think it's become a holiday for us to stop in our busy lives the way we would for an anniversary and say, I love you, I'm glad I married you, we've been married for 30 years or whatever, the way you might have a birthday and be like, oh my gosh, I just turned 60 and I feel amazing and I want to celebrate my life. And Thanksgiving for me is like that holiday where we stop and just really sink into what gratefulness is all about, what gratitude's all about. So, you know, most of you are like me. I'm looking at Annette right now. I know she's been doing this for years with me, is we have a daily gratitude practice. Every day I wake up, every morning, and it's my meditation that I say, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And because of it, I feel like I scan my world and constantly like, oh yeah, that's so, thank you for that. And sort of like raises that vibration we talked about with the metta meditation. Like everything's energy, everything's, you know, vibration. Just saying, hey, it's cool you guys came today is a nice vibration. But I would say, I am so grateful for each one of you that is here today, for each one of you being in my life. You can just feel it raise the vibration. So, of course, I love if you have that as your part of your morning rituals. But tomorrow is Thanksgiving, and I would just ask, as the little Shala elder in our tribe, to do something extra special around this idea of how grateful you are. Maybe you get out your journal and you write pages, or maybe you write letters and notes to everyone that you give them about how grateful you are for them. But teaching your children, if some of you are parents, I just love like doing some ritual that's with your family that really teaches gratitude as well is important. I finish this conference by just saying that Eckhart said, I'll butcher this a little bit because I don't have it in front of me, if the only prayer you say your entire life is thank you, that will suffice. So I thank all of you for being in my life. I thank all of you for being part of our extended family. Happy Thanksgiving.